rewards that you put towards the cost of an essential piece of post-project recovery, bath salts, and a heating pad. Visit
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Time to put the pedal to the floor. It's loud and live and local. Oh, time for open mic.
That is correct. We are loud. We are live. We are local in Orlando every morning, 6 to 9:30 a.m. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Glad to be here. Glad you're with us. Welcome to Open Mic. I'm Mike Bianchi, the Bulldog sports columnist of the Orlando Sentinel. Joining me, as always, Adam Reardon. He is the deceptive intellect. And, of course, Austin Pastolka. He's the Sultan of Sound.
Yeah, that's right, Mike. And holy cow, do we have a lot to talk about today. Gus Malzahn, we've got... words are hard. We got a lot to talk about, and we got tickets to give away. Wow. My brain, I need some more coffee.
We got Magic tickets. We're going to give those away. We also have Magic guests today. It's the Magic Word segment at 8:15. John Hammond, GM of the Orlando Magic, will join us at 8:15. Adam Shadoff, Fox 35 sports anchor. He'll join us as he does every Tuesday about 8 a.m. I saw him at the Gus Malzahn introductory news conference yesterday, so we'll talk all about that. As always, we have your chance to win $1,000
Mike,
twice.
how mad were you? I don't mean to cut you off, but how mad were you the fact that they made the announcement after you did not get any sleep the night before?
Well, I'm glad you at least acknowledged the fact that I played hurt yesterday, even though I didn't get a game ball during game balls and good balls. I wasn't that upset because they didn't have the news conference until 2 p.m., which allowed me to get in a hefty 2.5-hour nap. So, yeah.
I was worried about you when I saw the news. Yeah. I was like, ooh, man, he might still be asleep right now. Hope someone wakes him up.
Yeah, so yes. Again, we will get into the news conference later, and we'll talk to Adam Shadoff about it as well. But we want to hear what you think. Give us a call, 407-916-8255. You can tweet us at 96.9 The Game. You can also text us on our Academy Sports and Outdoors text line. That's 50857. As I said, your first chance to win $1,000, 7:10 a.m. this morning. We begin every show with an open mic early morning inspirational quote of the day. This comes from Meister Eckhart, and I quote, "Be willing to be a beginner every single morning," end quote.
Interesting. Be willing to be a beginner every morning?
Every single morning. That's right.
I assume what he's saying is that you have to be ready to learn every single day. You have to be ready to take on new challenges and not just sit back and be the expert. But you have to grow yourself more as you move forward. You know, that sort of... I think that's the angle he's trying to get.
I think he's talking about, okay, every morning. I mean, what's the quote we had
all in a state of mind.
Ago? No, excellence. Excellence isn't. Excellence is a habit. All right, excellence is a habit. So every single morning, and football coaches always talk about you have to have the fundamentals never change. So every single morning, I think you have to wake up with the fundamentals of excellence, all right? Always have the fundamentals. If you have that, if you're a beginner and you have the fundamentals, because beginners always work on their fundamentals, right?
Okay, I see where you're going now. I was gonna say that doesn't make sense because if you're a beginner, you don't know anything. So
yeah, but if you're a beginner, you're very careful about the fundamentals because that's the basics of what you're trying to do.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway,
I can get behind that.
That's our open mic early morning inspirational quote of the day. As I mentioned, Gus Malzahn introduced as UCF's new head football coach yesterday. And again, if you want to read my column at OrlandoSentinel.com, you can do that right now. Yeah. And to me, and I said it yesterday, I'll say it again. And we have a poll about this, which we'll get to later. I think this was an absolute home run hire. The first thing I wrote in my column this morning was a public service message to all those nattering nabobs of negativity in the self-described UCF Twitter mafia who've been all over social media complaining about UCF hiring Gus Malzahn. And my message to them was this: are you people crazy? Are you delusional? Do you really think you can do better than Gus Malzahn? Do you realize that UCF now has the most accomplished college football coach in the state of Florida among the Big Four? All right. This is a coach who has a Southeastern Conference championship. He has a better SEC winning percentage than Dan Mullen. He's gone head-to-head with Nick Saban and won his fair share of those games. He's won a national title as an Auburn offensive coordinator. He was 13 seconds from winning a national title against FSU as Auburn's head coach. And again, I don't think UCF fans realize how fortunate they are to be able to hire a coach of Gus Malzahn's credentials, magnitude, name recognition, championship pedigree. And if you listen to Gus Malzahn's press conference yesterday, it sounds to me like this guy is motivated and fired up to be at UCF. Here's a little bit of what he said.
I really believe, and I told Terry this, they're getting the best Gus Malzahn coach of any time in my career. We will definitely have a high-powered offense. We will build upon what we've done and been successful here with, and we'll build it around our quarterback. I love expectations. I mean, I'm a dreamer. I mean, I want our players to dream. I want our fans to dream. And when you put expectations, I mean, that's the fun part. I don't want a job that doesn't have expectations to win a championship. That's not me. We're going to do everything in our power, all right, as a program to give our guys a chance to do that. And I truly believe we will be in the Final Four in a short period of time. I've had a lot of respect for the program for a long period of time. I was telling Terry during the interview process, the last 5 years, from time to time, I would tell our staff that, you know, if the right guy ever got to UCF, if the right guy ever got there and would stay there and build it, everybody else would be in trouble. I feel like I'm that right guy. You know, this is going to be the future top program, and this is the program of the future, and buckle up, and we're going to build on what they've done before, and we're going to take that next step. One of my top priorities as a head coach, yeah, I'm an offensive guy, but if we're truly going to have a chance to make the Final Four, we're going to play great defense. I've been interested in a long time. Just looking at the big picture as coaches and looking ahead. You know, you say, non-power, best non-power 5 job. You know, we need to change the narrative. This is going to be one of the best programs in college football in a short period of time. And at times they've been that way. And so that's another goal of mine. You know, this is a job that I'm planning on being here and building it. And like I said, that's what really makes me tick. This, to me, is one of the top 20 coaching jobs in all of college football.
Boom. That was Gus Malzahn yesterday. And again, he came out of the box, and we've been talking about this for like a couple of weeks now, ever since Josh Heupel left. Does UCF need to hire a coach who plans on being here a while? Well, he came right out of the box with that, saying, listen, I've always said if UCF could get a coach in there who could build it and stay there, watch out. And then he said, I think I'm that coach. So, again, I don't understand some of the negativity among UCS fan base. Here's another thing. Gus Malzahn instantly gives UCF some credibility again. We know they've had a couple, they were a little bit down this year. Year before they started falling off the radar a little bit. Well, the press conference yesterday, there were reporters from all over the country. Your Andy Staples, your Dennis Dodd, your national media. They are now immediately paying attention to UCF. In fact, I wanted to see. I wanted to see what some of these guys were writing. So I went to Dennis Dodd of CBSSports.com, one of the most respected college football national media members in the country. Here's the headline on his column. Grades for every hire in the 2021 college football coaching carousel, Gus Malzahn to UCF. Gets an A+. All right, that's the headline. Here's what he writes, Austin Pistolka. Gus Malzahn to UCF feels so right. It is not only the best addition of the current hiring cycle of college football coaches, it's the best group of 5 hire basically since we started calling it the group of 5 about 10 years ago, and it's not even close. Your thoughts?
Well, I completely agree with that, especially because the thing that I loved about Gus Malzahn's press conference, it's the fact that he admitted to. I mean, you asked him about the loss when UCF took on Auburn, and the words of affirmation that he said about UCF, the fact that he has a gravitas to him, a real gravity, some real heft behind his words, because he was in the SEC. He was in a national championship game as a head coach. This guy, when he says something about a school that a lot of people just consider the little brother of the SEC, it means a lot. And I hope that fans took that and went, well, yeah. And of course he wants to be here. Of course he wants to be the guy. I hope it pumped up the fan base in a way that I felt pumped up listening to the press conference.
Yeah, I would think those critics before the press conference, if they watched the press conference, I would guess, and again, I haven't been on social media the last 12 hours or whatever, but I would think that he won over many in the UCF Twitter mafia yesterday. But we shall see. We have polls up. You can go vote on those polls at 96.9 The Game. Polls about Gus Malzahn, the hire, all of that. Again, please vote. We want to know what you think at 96.9 The Game on Twitter. Straight ahead, it's National Pancake Day, and that brings us to a spontaneous text question, which we will get to next on Open Mic.
Absence makes the heart grow fond.
to UFC or UCF, if the right guy ever got there and would stay there and build it, everybody else would be in trouble. I feel like I'm that right guy.
Gus Malzahn, the new head coach of Ultimate Fighting Championship, UFC.
Man, good for him.
UCF fans they get sensitive about that stuff, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, at least he didn't. At least Gus Malzahn hasn't been here 3 years, leaves, and then goes up to Tennessee and calls him Central Florida 4 times during the press conference, like Josh Heupel did.
What's the other one they hate?
The Golden
Golden Knights. Yeah.
I made that
the
mistake
Golden
once.
Did you get
did.
crushed?
Yeah.
I haven't made the mistake on the air recently, but sometimes I'll still call them the Golden Knights because that's what they always were when I was coming up. Even when I got to Orlando, they were the Golden Knights.
Thank God we're not in the Northeast, because I still refer to the Nets as the New Jersey Nets all the time. All the time. I mean, when you grow up, and that's just like burned in your eye. Drazen Petrovic, I can still see him knocking down threes and stuff, for the New Jersey Nets. And even Trina's grandfather the other day, I called him the New Jersey Nets. He goes, Brooklyn. He's like 90 years old, He's like sharper than I am.
What's the name I always screw up on the air?
Russell Wilson. You always call him Russell Westbrook.
Russell Wilson, Russell Westbrook. I screwed that up.
Frank Murphy. Frank Murphy. That's in our backyard.
Not anymore. He's not. Not anymore. Frank got cut yesterday.
Oh my God! The guy comes up, gets injured.
They cut him.
Catches the injury bug here, and then they cut him.
Yep.
Goodness.
Can't stay healthy, Frank. You're gone.
Jonathan Isaac's like, I got to get back. They're cutting people now. Hold on, this knee's getting better. Hold on, I'm working out.
All right, Adam, we just had our initial discussion about Gus Malzahn. You heard some of the montage. I'm sure you've seen some of the quotes. What did you think about his press conference, and how do you think UCF fans should feel today?
Oh, he not only won the press conference, he beat it down. No, everybody wins the press conference. At the end of the day, my feelings on Gus Malzahn as the head coach of UCF are not. I think it's a great hire. I think it's a good hire, trending towards great. When you look at his resume, what's really honestly not to like about Gus Malzahn? I get it that your heart may have been somewhere else, may have been fixated on something else. But the great American poet Garth Brooks once said, "Sometimes I thank God for unanswered prayers," and I think that this may be one of those situations where the UCF fan base is like, Jeff Lebby, Jeff Lebby, Jeff Lebby, Jeff Lebby. I don't like this other, and then you end up with a guy who has recruiting ties to the state of Florida. And let me say this: don't be surprised if the defensive coordinator at UCF is a guy that Miami just hired. That was on Auburn's step.
Linebackers, I think that is going to be who it is.
And you want to talk about a guy that can recruit the South Florida area. To me, at the end of the day, they're going to look back on this and go, well, actually, they'll look back on it and go, yeah, I told you, this is the right guy for the job. That's because that's what fans do. They're not going to go back and go, oh, I hated this hire 3 or 4 years ago. And especially if Gus Malzahn is beyond the itch to compete in the SEC,
I think he is.
We won't know that until year 5. And if there's success here, we won't know that. If he says, you know what, my time wasn't done at Auburn, I still had some big things. Let me go try to prove it again. Heupel failed there at Tennessee. Let me go in behind him and clean up that mess. If he's beyond that itch to compete at that, with all due respect to the American Athletic Conference, the highest level, then this has a chance to be a really, really good hire. Because it'll be a great coach that can stick around. Because if the SEC has interest in him, but he's like, nah, I'm happy where I'm at, that means he's winning. And that turns out to be a great hire.
I just don't understand. Like, usually when a coach is hired, and again, I'm judging this on the initial reaction among some UCF fans, right? Usually when a coach is hired, the fan base raves about the coach more than the media does. Well, in this case, like the media, and not just here in Orlando, I read a couple of excerpts from Dennis Dodd's column at CBSSports.com. He was on the Zoom press conference yesterday, all right? And again, the national media was just raving about this hire, much more so than UCF fans. And again, I don't really understand the whole Jeff Lebby thing. I really don't. All right, because Lebby's been calling plays a grand total of 1 year. A grand total of 1 year this past season at Ole Miss. That's the extent of Jeff Lebby's play calling, all right? Gus Malzahn, he's been an offensive guru for 2 decades. He was a high school coaching legend in Arkansas who would go on to become one of college football's greatest offensive coordinators. And that hurry-up offense, this hurry-up no-huddle offense that Frost and Heupel and Jeff Lebby are running, you know who wrote the book on it? Literally wrote the book on it 2 decades ago. There's a book out there. Gus Malzahn, How to Run the Hurry-Up No-Huddle Offense. This guy wrote the book on this offense. So, again, I don't understand. Oh, Jeff Lebby. Why? Because Jeff Lebby's 37 instead of 55? Is that it? Is it just age?
Yes. Yeah. No, I think that, and then the familiarity with Jeff Lebby here, that he was here during the best of times, and fans say, hey, listen, he was here, he knows the blueprint, he was part of the blueprint, let's bring him back. And you know, I can understand that point of view if there were if the other options were other offensive coordinators elsewhere. Who did we mention? The head coach at Kent State.
Yep.
Okay, so those, if you wanted to make the case for Jeff Lebby,
the number one offense in the country last season.
Yeah, but again, I get where fans would be, but Gus Malzahn, somebody we've watched on television for the last 10 years, doing it at the highest level and doing it well. When you mentioned, look, he's got 3 wins against Nick Saban. That's hard to do. That is hard to do. And you look at his record in the SEC West. I mean, look at fans at Florida love the idea of having Dan Mullen. He wasn't nearly as successful in the SEC West as Malzahn was, and now Auburn's a more prestigious job than Mississippi State for sure. I mean, but to have that level of success in the SEC, in the West, when it was Alabama, LSU, everybody was good in that division of the conference. That to me means something. If fans are salty on this hire today, I'd love to check back in 3 years, because I don't think they would admit to being one of those guys. No, I was with this hire the whole time. I love this hire.
Yeah, if Gus Malzahn can go head to head with Nick Saban and win his fair share, I think he'll be okay against Luke Fickell. I really do. All right, straight ahead, we will continue the Gus Malzahn conversation. Also, I have a spontaneous text question about pancakes. That's next on Open Mic.
What does Mike Bianchi and the next commercial break have in common? They're both
this. They're getting the best Gus Malzahn coach of any time in my career. From the fact that I had 8 weeks to reflect, refresh, kind of evaluate too, and to be better the next time you do it.
I actually think it's good. Good for UCF. That was Gus Malzahn, by the way. I think it's good for UCF that Gus Malzahn got fired last year at Auburn. He got fired. I don't think he should have been fired, mind you. I don't think anybody should have been fired during this pandemic-plagued football season. But he did get fired after going 6-4 at Auburn this past season. I actually think that's good. I think Gus Malzahn is anybody. I've never been fired, all right? But I've talked to people who've been fired. I've talked to coaches who've been fired, and Adam, have you ever been fired? Austin, you're too young probably to have been fired.
Yeah, one of my best friends fired me from a job one time.
Whoa.
Well, anyway, I would think I know if I got fired and then I got another job, I would want to prove to the person who fired me that you screwed up, all right? So you heard Gus Malzahn say they're getting the best version of Gus Malzahn as a coach. I think this guy's coming into UCF with a chip on his shoulder. I think people are starting to question, hey, has he lost a step? His offense last year at Auburn, not good, ranked 77th in the country last year, whereas these young whippersnappers like Josh Heupel and Jeff Lebby, they've taken this no-huddle, hurry-up offense that he essentially invented, and they're running it better than he is now. Josh Heupel's offense last year ranked number 2 in the country. Jeff Lebby's offense at Ole Miss, number 3 in the country. Kent State, I mentioned, number 1 in the country, running the no-huddle, hurry-up offense. I think Gus Malzahn's going to come into UCF and say, wait a minute here. Hold on. I'm still the king of the hurry-up, no-huddle. I wrote the book on it. Watch me now. Watch me now. I think UCF's going to get a fired-up Gus Malzahn. I don't think he's coming here to relax and retire in Florida. I don't think that at all. I do not. So, anyway, thoughts?
Yeah, no, I mean, sometimes, a change of scenery also, not just the fact that he was fired and he still feels he has something left in the tank and something left to prove. Sometimes a change of scenery is good. It does refresh you. A change of mindset and attitude. Somebody sort of mocked a question, and I don't know who asked it, so I hope it wasn't you. But during the press conference, somebody said, "Hey, are you ready for the pressures to win at UCF?"
Yeah, that wasn't me, but I did sort of chuckle like he just came from Auburn.
Bro, are you serious? This guy literally coached at the Iron Bowl. Okay, I don't know how new you are to the world of college football and the pressures to win.
The pressure cooker of UCF.
So yeah, and I to me, once you've done that, and this is a discussion we've had for a couple weeks now in regards to what kind of coach do you think would fit at UCF? I think a coach that's been through all that who says, okay, I'm not really interested in that sort of pressure. I still want the pressure to win, which is within you regardless of the level you're coaching at or competing at. UCF could be a great job for that coach that's been in the SEC for 10 years who says, I still want to coach, but yeah, it's nice that, if we go 9-3 every year, people aren't asking me where the next step is, like, hey, we're losing to our in-state rival every year and this just isn't good enough. UCF would be a great job, and I really think that at the end of the day, we'll look back on this 4 years from now and people will go, hey, we ended up with a pretty damn good football coach who's still got tread left on the tire. How old's Malzahn?
55.
55. That's not old. And he doesn't look like an old 55 either.
No. He's a bigger dude than I thought. By the way, he's a tall, big tall Arkansas boy. So anyway, all right. Spontaneous text question of the day.
Spontaneous text question of the day.
It's National Pancake Day. All right. So we're gonna go with. Let's go with this. Truly is a spontaneous take. So, what's your favorite breakfast? Your favorite breakfast? To me, it's easy. I love lox and bagels. All right, one of my favorite things about going on a cruise when you actually went on cruises before the pandemic is they have great buffets and great food on cruises. And every morning when I go on a cruise, I'll go to the breakfast buffet and they have these tubfuls of lox or smoked salmon, whatever you want to call it. And I just load it up on top of my bagel. I mean, I've got like lox 4 inches thick.
Lots
on
of
top
lox,
of my
brother.
bagel, slathered in cream cheese. Oh, I love lox and bagel.
He's got a 1-to-1 ratio of lox and bagel. It's just right there on the top.
Oh, yeah. I just make it's like a big quadruple decker bagel lox sandwich with the cream cheese slathered all over it. Oh,
Man,
is it
bold
good.
choice on starting your fast with talking about all this great food that you're not
I
going to
know.
have.
No.
Interesting choice, brother.
Yeah. So, you
Yeah.
guys, anything?
For me, I'm a lover of hash browns, and so hash browns covered in gravy with classic eggs on the side, and it all runs together, gets sopped up.
Gravy?
But yeah,
Big
man.
gravy on your head.
Oh.
You're talking about the white gravy?
Yeah, brother. Yeah, you get the
That sounds
chicken
good.
fried steak and eggs, and you ask for a little extra gravy to put on the hash browns on the side. That's what I'm talking about.
You probably like biscuits and gravy. Too.
Love it. Love it. So good.
I like, I guess my favorite thing, the thing I've been craving a lot lately because I've cut it way out of my diet is blueberry pancakes. And not just any blue. I like them at the restaurants that are like, hey, we're known for a really big pancake. Look, you can only eat just one, and I'll take 2, please. I'll never forget the first time I ate at a restaurant here. There's a local, it's not a local place. I have a bunch across the country, and I ordered 3 pancakes. And the lady says, "Are you sure you want 3 pancakes?
Oh,
They're pretty big."
That's how you know.
And I said, "Come on, I'm a grown man. Bring me 3 pancakes, will you?" Pancakes were so big that from this point forward, I eat 2 knowing I'm going to throw 30% of it away.
Man. You always know it's a great place when a short stack is 2 pancakes instead of 3.
Oh, my
You
gosh.
know?
All right, so text those in 50857, your favorite breakfast on National Pancake Day. I used to love to go to IHOP. I still do love to go to IHOP. And if you order pancakes at IHOP, you know how they have the different flavored syrups? I like the apricot syrup at IHOP.
I've never been adventurous. Here's actually one thing that I don't like at all when I go to restaurants and get pancakes is they always bring you warm syrup. I don't like that.
What?
I actually,
What?
Yeah, I actually asked the server. I said, "Can you do me a favor? Wherever you're getting the syrup to actually put it in the warmer, I want to bypass the middleman. I want you to get me because growing up when I was a kid, you just pulled
Right
it straight out of the fridge or out of the cupboard. You know what I mean? I've never had warm syrup, and so I don't like it.
Man, you got to treat yourself more often.
No, I
You're
don't
also
enjoy
a guy
it.
who don't
Just
you
pull
don't
it.
like black coffee. You don't like hot coffee. You don't like tea.
I don't have hot
You don't like
drinks.
soup.
Yeah, I don't like hot liquids. No.
He
Okay.
likes to pull that bottle of cold Winn-Dixie generic brand
Yeah,
syrup
that's
out of
it.
the cupboard just like he did when he was a kid.
It still sits on top of the pancake. It doesn't even soak in.
I used to get Aunt Joanna's. It wasn't even Aunt Jemima. It was Aunt Joanna's.
It's not Aunt Jemima anymore.
No, it isn't.
All right, up next, does Tom Brady owe the Lombardi Trophy maker an apology? That's next on Open Mic.
96.9 The Game.
Love the fact that, kind of like I said, the foundation's built. There's been some really good success, and it just needs to be kind of that next step in that consistency, and that's what I'm here for.
That was new UCF head coach Gus Malzahn. That was his answer to the question when somebody asked him, do you know what sort of pressure cooker you're stepping into? He should have just said, I was at Auburn. Hello, McFly.
Hopefully the pressures and the stressors of the SEC have prepared me for my time here at UCF.
Right.
We'll see.
Your next chance, your first chance to win $1,000 coming up. It is coming up at 7:10 a.m. this morning. We do it twice every weekday morning. We give you a chance to win $1,000. Be listening for the keyword. If you hear the keyword, text it into 200-200. If you get a call back, make sure you pick up the phone, because if it's us, bingo, bango, bongo, you win $1,000. We call it the Dash for Cash. Make an appointment. 7:10 a.m., 8:10 a.m. every single morning. Our spontaneous text question on National Pancake Day: what's your favorite breakfast? All right, Austin, get your dinger ready. We've got some on the text line.
All right, dinger is ready.
All right, the dinger is ready. Let me see. The Chick-fil-A chicken biscuit. I'm definitely dinging that. Anything from Chick-fil-A.
What if you like to eat breakfast on Sundays?
If you like to eat breakfast on Sunday, not good, but I love everything Chick-fil-A. How about biscuits and gravy? Ooh, man, it sticks to the arteries and it's so good, but only if the gravy, I'm going to put a caveat on this, the gravy has to have those little sausage chunks in it.
Well, hold on one second. Okay.
Is there any other way?
No. You're right, but it can't be the sausage rounds. It can't be like the real little, like the size of a nickel. Okay, it's got to be like ground sausage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why?
Okay,
People
yeah.
are putting like sliced sausage
Yeah.
in their gravy.
I'm not going to turn that down.
You
mind
should.
you.
It's not as good.
That's weird.
Oh, well, I would say it's not as good, but still, I'm not going to like push the plate away.
Have higher standards, Mike.
Biscuit. Oh, what about this one? Biscuits and gravy with bacon and deer breakfast sausage. Oh, for the woodsman out there. Somebody texted in eggs Benedict. Forget about it.
I love eggs Benedict.
I like
So
eggs
good.
Benedict too.
Especially if you get like put like some hash on it, some corned beef hash on it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm.
Not that hash.
A little hashish.
Yeah. 1970s eggs Benedict, please. Oh, with hash.
2 large pancakes with 2 over easy eggs on top, covered in maple syrup with a side of home fries.
Putting the
Eggs on top? So like then now the yolk runs all in your...
Plus you're putting syrup on your eggs? No.
Hey, I want you to do me a favor. That's off the text message line. We need to get that number to the FBI quick. We got a psychopath on our hands here.
What else we got? Awesome to make your own pancakes at DeLeon Springs up in DeLand.
But you have to make
it yourself?
Yeah, I don't want to make my own pancakes.
Yeah, I certainly want to drive anywhere to do something I could do in my own kitchen.
Yeah. I bet you can find their recipe on a website somewhere, and it'll be just as good.
All right. So a Fort Myers woman whose father helped craft the Vince Lombardi Trophy wants an apology. She wants an apology from Tom Brady for tossing that trophy across the water into another boat during Tampa Bay's Super Bowl celebrating boat parade last week. Obviously, we saw the video of it. We talked about it last week. That video went viral. The woman, her name is Laureen Groves. Here's what she had to say about Tom Brady throwing that trophy.
It just really upset me that this trophy was disgraced and disrespected. I personally would like an apology, not just to me and my family and the other silversmiths, but to the fans. I didn't sleep for the past 2 nights because of this. I was that upset because I know the passion that goes into this trophy.
Okay, so that was Lorraine Groves. Her father was Greg Groves, the master silversmith at Tiffany's and Tiffany Company from 1967 to 1994, who crafted the very first Vince Lombardi trophy. He's the one who stayed up at nights making sure that it was just right. As she said, my father had to chisel the seams. He had to chisel the seams by hand. There is a newspaper article that shows him working on that trophy. The ball is hand formed and the base is as well. You know what? I'm agreeing with Lorraine. I think Tom Brady owes Lorraine and the Groves family an apology for so cavalierly throwing that trophy in a drunken stupor, no less. Drunken stupor on tequila. Influenced by tequila, he throws that trophy. What if it had plopped into the Hillsborough River? Who knows what would have happened to it? Maybe it would have plopped into a deep spot in the Hillsborough River where they couldn't have dove down and gotten it. Maybe the river current sweeps it into the ocean, and we never see that Lombardi trophy again. Tom Brady owes an apology. Apology. You guys agree?
No.
Come on now.
What?
You know who I'm worried for, honestly, throughout this entire thing? If this lady has young children. No, because everybody's going to just look at Lorraine and go, just change her name to Karen, will you? It's going to be her kids that are in school. You know, if she's got teenage kids, I mean, they are like, Mom, I can't believe I don't even want to ride the bus today. They're picking on me. You know, where is she at? She's down in Sarasota?
Fort Myers.
Fort Myers. So she's close to Tampa, okay?
Yeah.
So everybody around her is probably a much larger Tom Brady fan than they are of the dude who chiseled the seams in the trophy.
Yeah.
So she's like saying, I lost sleep over this. Man, oh man, when I heard the story like 3 days ago, I go, is this lady nuts? Is this lady crazy? I lost sleep over this? I mean, think about this. Mark Daniels.
Easy for you to say. I mean, it wasn't
my dad's never done nothing.
Yeah.
Mark Daniels brought this point up. Is she familiar with what happens to the Stanley Cup? You know, are the long, you know, relatives of the guy who created the Stanley Cup losing sleep over all the things that happened to that prestigious trophy?
Oh, God. You guys need to understand.
Where was she when Gronk was using it as a baseball, as a bat, and he bunts it and actually put a dent in it?
Maybe it was, at least then it wasn't going to drop into the river and get swept away by the current into the ocean.
You're telling me no one is jumping in after the Lombardi trophy and it's just going to be covered in kelp? Come on now.
You don't understand. First of all, Austin Pistolka, you're from Nebraska, all right? You don't understand the rivers in Florida. Some of these rivers have a really, really deep spots, and you can't just dive in and swim to the bottom. You can't get to the bottom somehow. And once that underneath current grabs a hold of that trophy, it's like you've been in the ocean. In Florida, you've been to the beach. You know what that rip current can do. It can sweep you out quickly. And that trophy could have been swept quickly into the ocean. Boom, gone forever. And Lorraine and her dad would, again, as somebody who didn't grow up with a dad, if my dad had carved this trophy, is that what you do to it? Or is it? Yeah, you carve it, whatever you did to it.
Not made of wood. It's not made of wood, Mike.
If he'd whittled this trophy,
I watched my dad for many, many weeks on the front porch making that trophy. His friends, Bartles and James, were both there.
Sat in his rocking chair whittling that trophy down.
This trophy goes right alongside the Soapbox Derby trophy that he once made for the Marionville County Championships.
All right, we do have a supplemental poll on this. Should Tom Brady apologize to the maker of the Lombardi Trophy for throwing it across the water into another vessel?
The answer is hell no. He won the damn thing. He can do whatever the hell he wants with it.
Here's another supplemental poll we have. So I took my car to the car wash the other day. All right?
The car wash, yeah.
I was at the car wash. So, I go drive up to the car wash, pay my $5, and they direct you in to make sure your wheels are locked into the little rails that they have to go in so it can pull your car through the car wash. So, I roll up my windows and I'm going through the car wash. And as I'm going through the car wash, I'm thinking to myself, ever since I was a kid, I love being in car washes. Such a great experience. Does anybody not like being in a car wash?
When I first saw this question, I thought, oh, that's silly. But then when I thought about it more, there is something like if you pay, Mike paid the $5, but if you paid the $8, Mike, they'd hit you with that triple colored foam, which really that does up the experience. The $5 one, they just give you the regular old white foam soap and stuff, and then they zip you through the dryer, never really dries your car. You go with the $9 one, it's going to give you a little Rain-X on your windshield and stuff. But it's that triple colored foam, it's like hot pink and blue and yellow, and you're like, ooh, we're here. Hey, this is something.
Hey, this is a time that, I remember times like these in the 80s.
I was going to say, like, after you have the 1970s breakfast with the hash and stuff, you go with the triple colors and stuff, you come out the other end a changed person.
It's a religious
I don't know what
experience.
it is, but I just love being, again, it's not any great experience, but it's always just like a nice.
Well, there's a lot of different stimuluses where you're just sitting there. That's nice sounds. There's a lot of motion going on, and you're just kind of there. You can't go anywhere. You're just taking a little time to relax.
You guys want the psychology behind it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It takes you to a time where you were in your mother's womb. You're encased in that car, okay? Yeah. Around you is liquids moving, and you can hear the movement.
Mom's drinking beer again.
You're in there. I mean, and what do you do at the very end, Mike? What do you do at the very end? You emerge to the light.
Come out the other side. Yeah.
Your car is rebirthed. With you in it.
Gross.
A brand new, born-again car.
Shiny new car.
That's why you like it so much. I'm telling you, that's the psychology in it.
Man, that explains why my car's covered in blood every time that I go.
Gross.
And plus at the end, all these car washes have the vacuums. You can vacuum out your car for free.
That's right.
Yeah. Love those. Anyway, all right. Let's pause for station identification.
WYGM Orlando, WJRR HD2 Cocoa Beach Orlando, Facebook.com/969 The Game.
What you reading there, honey?
It's very exciting stuff, you see. It's the front page of the internet.
Here we go with the front page of the internet.
What are you laughing at? Why are you laughing?
Adam told a funny joke over that only I'm allowed to hear.
Go ahead and tell it on the air.
No, that's I think it's fine. Yeah,
you think it's fine? Well, I was just joking with Austin. I said the only thing is I hate making the decision after my car wash is over whether or not I'm gonna get my car a circumcision or not.
It's time.
When my car comes out of the car wash, I like to give it a hard slap on the rear.
Yeah, that's right. Hear that engine purr. There you go.
It's time for the front page of the internet this morning. We start off on YouTube's trending page, where #1 video on all of YouTube right now is from the show Last Week Tonight, starring John Oliver. He is talking about not this pandemic, but the next pandemic and what we can do to not have this happen again. And his big advice is, don't kiss pigs. If you're gonna be around animals, don't kiss them. And if it's not an animal that you don't already eat, don't eat it. That's your biggest way to not have the next pandemic happen, apparently.
Don't eat bats.
Don't eat bats. Don't do it. So that's the number 1 video. Number 2 video is from American Idol. Claudia Conway sings Adele's song and shocks the world to earn a golden ticket. 2.1 million views. Man, isn't American Idol just one of the classic?
You said it, and I was like, "Oh, is that still on? I didn't even know that was still on."
Right? It's not. I'm not for sure who the judges are at this point, but it's still on. And Ryan Seacrest still hosting the damn thing.
Simon's still on it, right?
No, he hasn't been on it in years.
He's on America's Got Talent now, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this: that the only thing I really remember about that show is Ryan Seacrest. There was like another guy with him at the very beginning, and he decided, like, in contract, you're not paying me now. I'm going to step away. You need me more than I need you. And
absolutely. That did not work out well. Happy birthday today to Super Bowl halftime performer The Weeknd.
The Weeknd is. I'm gonna go 32.
Oh, Weeknd's got to be 29.
He's 31.
Oh,
good job, Mike. Trending over on. Well, I mean, come on, he was closer though.
That's true, and he went first too.
Yeah, exactly. Trending over on.
I would have not even known who The Weeknd was unless I actually saw him at the Super Bowl.
That's the only reason why I picked him out today, was because I'm like, I know Mike knows who's.
If it weren't for the Super Bowl, Mike would have been 2 days old. The Weeknd was 2 days old 2 days ago.
Trending over on 969thegame.com on the open mic section, you can check out my thoughts on the Gus Malzahn press conference and the gravitas that he brings to UCF, but also in funnier stuff.
You just like to say gravitas because it makes you sound smart.
It does.
It's like the second time he's rolled that out today.
Yeah,
just in case
gravitas.
Our early listeners didn't hear, here's Austin using the word gravitas.
I made sure to give an hour.
Word from
That's
Austin.
right. I had to make sure I gave it an hour worth of breathing time so we got the new audience in. Absolutely. So be expecting in the 8 o'clock hour for gravitas number 3.
Next he's gonna say trepidation or something like that. I have some trepidation.
Just you wait for my next $5 word.
Listen, I'm not going to call you out next hour because that's how magnanimous I can be.
Nice. Attaway. But also on the open mic section is NFL's bad lip reading for 2021. The long-awaited video is out once again. It's great. Go check it out. And finally, trending on Twitter right now, and the reason why I bring this up is because it's kind of interesting. Trending right now is the phrase level 3. Now, most of the time when something is trending on Twitter, it's just one thing. Everyone's talking about the same thing. However, this time, people are talking about 3 different level 3s. There's the level 3 of where some people are with the pandemic, meaning still only essential workers on the roads and all that sort of stuff. There are some people who are talking about level 3 for the snowstorm that's going on in Texas right now, that they're in a level 3 snowstorm emergency. And then also, apparently a volcano, Tall, has increased their activity, the volcanic activity, to level 3. What? So, level 3 is across the world right now.
None of them good. A lot of magma comes out of a level 3 volcano, let me tell you.
Yeah.
A lot of magma.
Lava, magma. Level 3. Yeah. And that's what's on the front page of the internet today.
By the way, sad story coming out of Tampa. Former Tampa Bay Buccaneers NFL wide receiver Vincent Jackson was found dead yesterday in a hotel room over in Hillsborough County. I'm reading the story right now. According to the hotel staff, Jackson, who lives in Tampa, he checked into a hotel on January the 11th, had been staying in a room since that date. Jackson's family actually reported him missing last week on Wednesday, and a formal report was filed. But police located Jackson at a Homewood Suites on Friday. So the missing persons case was canceled after Jackson's, his well-being was confirmed. Quote from the sheriff over in Hillsborough County. Chad Chronister's his name. Quote, "My heart aches for the many loved ones Vincent Jackson leaves behind, from his wife and children to the Buccaneers nation that adored him. Mr. Jackson was a devoted man who put his family and community above everything else. He will be sorely missed by not only football fans across the country, but also the people here in Hillsborough County who reaped the benefits of his generous contributions." Evidently, Vincent Jackson was a philanthropist, a really good deed doer over in Tampa. He's the son of military parents. He founded the Jackson in Action 83 Foundation, which is a nonprofit to support military families. Well respected over in Tampa. This is a strange story, isn't it? Wow.
Yeah,
I've been in a
I'm sorry. You mentioned, him being in a hotel and, devoted family. Like, when you hear somebody dying in a hotel, especially at a young age, guys, a former athlete and stuff, it does. Immediately the question marks pop up over your head.
Yeah.
We're going to have to wait to see something.
Yeah. So sad story. Vincent Jackson, former Tampa Bay. He was a hell of a wide receiver. He was a Pro Bowler or All Pro, I think, at one time. I mean, he was a big, fast. Yeah. He was a big, fast wide receiver. Buccaneers current wide receiver Mike Evans was among several of Jackson's former teammates to react to the news on Twitter. And he tweeted out yesterday, "V-Jax, thank you for everything. I love you, big bro. Praying for your family. Rest in paradise." That's what Mike Evans wrote yesterday on Twitter. So Vincent Jackson, rest in peace. All right, straight ahead, it's the sound off. What does that mean? It means we are going to hear from all the newsmakers in the world of sports. Not all of them, but some of them. But first, we want to give you a chance to win $1,000.
Now, your chance to win one.
UCF made it official yesterday. They hired former Auburn football coach Gus Malzahn as their new head coach. They signed him to a 5-year deal that will pay him $2.3 million annually. His buyout is $7 million in 2021, then declines to $5 million in 2022, $3 million in 2023, $2 million in 2024, and $500,000 before the start of his final season of agreement in 2025. This is according to figures obtained by the Orlando Sentinel. I guess we got his contract. Not as big a buyout as I would have liked, but $7 million, at least for the first year, is still a pretty hefty buyout. It still amazes me. It's died down a lot on social media since the introductory news conference yesterday, but there were many UCF fans when it was first announced that Gus Malzahn was going to be the head coach that were pretty negative. I mean, the self-described UCF Twitter mafia, they were all over social media complaining about Gus Malzahn's hiring. And again, as I wrote in my column today at OrlandoSentinel.com, which you can read right now.
Cheap plug.
I had a message a public service message to these nattering nabobs of negativity, and the message was this. You know how Austin always does these polls, all right? And his first option will be all capital letters, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. All right, that was my message to UCF fans who are negative about Gus Malzahn. Are you people crazy? Are you delusional? Do you really think you can do better than Gus Malzahn? Do you realize how lucky UCF is to have a coach of Gus Malzahn's ilk? There's a word for you, ilk. UCF right now, and I've had some Gator fans already emailing me because I said UCF now has the most accomplished college football coach in the state of Florida. And I don't know why Gator fans are emailing me about that. Gus Malzahn is more accomplished to date than Dan Mullen. Why do I say that? Because he's got a Southeastern Conference championship. Does Dan Mullen? No. He's got a better SEC winning percentage than Dan Mullen has. Now, I realize Dan Mullen was at Mississippi State and Gus Malzahn was at a more prestigious school in Auburn, but you are what your record says you are. And Gus Malzahn's SEC record is better than Dan Mullen. Dan Mullen did win 2 national championships as an offensive coordinator at Florida. I get that. But I'm talking about head coaching credentials right now. And by the way, Gus Malzahn did win a national championship as an offensive coordinator at Auburn, and he also played for a national championship as a head coach at FSU. All right? Or I'm sorry, at Auburn against FSU. 13 seconds away from actually winning that game until Kelvin Benjamin catches the touchdown pass from Jameis Winston at the end of the game to give FSU that victory at the Rose Bowl. But again, I think UCF fans are out. Any UCF fan who was negative about this hire, go read some of the national media. Go read what the Dennis Dodds of the world are writing about this hire. They are raving about it. And you know what, UCF fans, you should be raving about it too. This is an unbelievable hire for Terry Mohajir. His first hire at UCF, awesome. I just think it's an awesome hire. If Gus Malzahn flops, then I'll say I was wrong. Obviously, he has to go out and win, and he has to go out and put an exciting offense on the field. But as far as right now, if I'm judging this hire, I'm giving it an A+++++. A++++++. Adam Reardon, Austin Pasolka, thoughts?
Well, for me, grading a hire, you got to look at the options. What were the options? A bunch of offensive coordinators.
Jeff Lebby.
A bunch of offensive coordinators that have no head coaching experience. You've got a head coach who's got head coaching experience, but he's at Kent State. Would you rather a head coach with experience in the SEC or at Kent State? Would you rather have a coach that has recruiting ties to the state of Florida, a coach that has connections with other coaches that may be in the state of Florida right now that he could pluck away, that are also known as great recruiters? At the end of the day, because of what the 4 or 5 names that we sort of thought of or that we thought we knew, compared to those guys, this is an A+ hire. UCF, it's interesting. Maybe it's just the fan base that, a couple of years of undefeated teams has changed the mindset. 10 years ago, if you'd have gotten this sort of coach, you'd have been over the moon. You'd have been so excited to get this type of head coach with this sort of resume. In what world does Gus Malzahn not have the resume that could make happy UCF fans? To me, when you look at the guys he's up against for this job, allegedly, he was the best of the bunch. And that's, really all you can ask is you stack up the resumes of everybody that's up for the job. You take the best guy. This is the best guy.
I think it's interesting. Obviously a lot of the fan base, or at least some of the vocal fans and some of UCF players, they wanted Jeff Lebby. In fact, when it was announced or it was rumored that Gus Malzahn had gotten the job, Dillon Gabriel, you guys see this story?
Yes.
Dillon Gabriel made a few changes to his social media accounts, took all the photos of him wearing UCF stuff off of like his Instagram account, off of his Twitter account, and some UCF fans thought this, does this mean he's so unhappy because he wanted Jeff Lebby? Now he's going to transfer from UCF? Now, Dillon Gabriel has since put those photos back up, but Dillon Gabriel was certainly making some sort of statement, wasn't he?
Well, I'm sure he was one of the players that was lobbying for Jeff Lebby.
He was. He definitely was.
Of course he was. And there's moments where you don't feel like you're heard and you think that you should have a bigger impact on the head coach. Listen, a guy who's going to be here one more year is going to make the decision of the coach that's going to be here for 4 to 5 years? Hell no. Hell, with all due respect to Dillon Gabriel, he's a good football player, but listen, if things go well for you this year, you're out. You're gone. That's it. And we're going to hire the coach that you wanted, and you're not going to be here for the next 5 years. You're not on the hook for what $10 million plus dollars? No. We don't let the players. And you're not in a situation like Miami had where you were on the precipice of a national championship and you just had to keep things status quo. Okay, this is not the same situation where Ed Reed basically told. I forget who the president was at the time, or the athletic director, probably Paul D. Listen, don't change anything. We'll win the national championship next year, and they were able to do that. It's not the same situation. So, no, with all due respect to Dillon Gabriel, who had an opinion, I'm sure, but he's not a decision maker. He can have an opinion all he wants. I don't understand the fascination with Jeff Lebby, who's been an offensive coordinator for a grand total of 1 year at Ole Miss. Now, it was a good year offensively, but he's called plays 1 year. Gus Malzahn is an offensive guru. I've said this multiple times this morning. This hurry-up, no-huddle offense that everybody's running in college football, including Jeff Lebby and Josh Heupel and Scott Frost. Gus Malzahn wrote the book, literally wrote the book on this offense. Gus Malzahn. Again, I hope UCF fans are changing their minds after the introductory news conference. We'll play some clips from that introductory news conference coming up, and also take your calls, 407-916-8255. That's coming your way on Open Mic.
96.9 The Game.
it all to the floor. It's loud and live and local. Oh, time for open mic.
Welcome back to Open Mic. I am Mike Bianchi, the Bulldog sports columnist of the Orlando Sentinel, joined as always by Adam Reardon, the deceptive intellect, and of course Austin Pistolka, the Sultan of Sound.
Yeah.
Together we are Open Mic, or Orlando's only and best morning sports drive time radio show. Give us a call, 407-916-8255. You can text us.
Oh, I wasn't ready for that.
Our Academy Sports and Outdoors text line, that's 50857. You can also tweet us at 96.9 The Game. Speaking of text, our spontaneous text question of the day.
Spontaneous text question of the day.
It's National Pancake Day, and we want to know what your favorite breakfast is. I told the story earlier. I love lox and bagels, and when I go on cruises, when we used to be allowed to go on cruises before the pandemic, I love going on cruises because they have great buffets, and they would just have these tubs of lox or smoked salmon, whatever you want to call it, and I every morning I would get up and get my all-everything bagel and slather it in cream cheese, and then I would go to the tubs of lox, and I would just put like a quadruple decker of lox on that bagel and put the other half of the bagel on top, and I would have a quadruple decker lox and bagel sandwich. Oh, was it good? Austin Pasolka's favorite breakfast is what was the gravy dish you like?
Heart attack on a plate.
That's right. Hash browns with gravy on top, brother. So good.
And Adams was, of course, blueberry pancakes on this National Pancake Day. All right, we mentioned Gus Malzahn was introduced as the head coach of UCF yesterday. Had a lot of good things to say. I thought he absolutely hit it out of the park as far as his press conference. Here is some of the highlights.
I really believe, and I told Terry this, they're getting the best Gus Malzahn coach of any time in my career. We will definitely have a high-powered offense. We will build upon what we've done and been successful here with, and we'll build it around our quarterback. I love expectations. I mean, I'm a dreamer. I mean, I want our players to dream. I want our fans to dream. And when you put expectations, I mean, that's the fun part. I don't want a job that doesn't have expectations to win a championship. That's not me. We're going to do everything in our power, all right, as a program to give our guys a chance to do that. And I truly believe we will be in the Final Four in a short period of time. I've had a lot of respect for the program for a long period of time. I was telling Terry during the interview process, the last 5 years, from time to time, I would tell our staff that, you know, if the right guy ever got to UCF, if the right guy ever got there and would stay there and build it, everybody else would be in trouble. I feel like I'm that right guy. You know, this is going to be the future top program, and this is the program of the future, and buckle up, and we're going to build on what they've done before, and we're going to take that next step. You can play great defense here, and that's going to be one of my top priorities as head coach. Yeah, I'm an offensive guy, but if we're truly going to have a chance to make the Final Four, we're going to play great defense. I've been interested in a long time. You know, just looking at the big picture as coaches and looking ahead. You know, you say, you know, non-power, best non-power 5 job. You know, we need to change the narrative. This is going to be one of the best programs in college football in a short period of time. And at times they've been that way. And so that's another goal of mine. You know, this is a job that I'm planning on being here and building it. And like I said, that's what really makes me tick. This, to me, is one of the top 20 coaching jobs in all of college football.
Gus Malzahn, a lot to say, says he's not going anywhere. I'm not going to be here a year or two. I'm going to stay here and build it, is what he said. That's what Gus Malzahn said. Let's go to Andy, line 1. He wants to talk about Gus Malzahn.
Well, I'm glad to see that the UCF Twitter mafia still has the blinders they did in the early 2000s when we were looking at George O'Leary. but I'm going to make a bold prediction for you, Bianchi. Malzahn gets more wins than Frost and Heupel combined. Charge on night.
Well, yeah. Again, I think he's going to be here a while. We have a poll about that, which we will get to with Adam Shadoff, but I think he's going to be here a while. I mean, Scott Frost won. What did he win? He won 12-8. That's 20 games. And Heupel won 12, 10, and 6. That's 28 games. So, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, again, those guys were only there 2 and 3 years. I think Gus Malzahn is going to be here longer than that. So, yeah, I certainly don't disagree with that. Who's our other caller?
We've got Ty on line 2.
Ty.
Hey, good morning, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I love the enthusiasm of these 2 new hires, the AD and the coach. But reality, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, I want to hear what you have to say. We're facing a ceiling in our conference. Last year, undefeated Cincinnati, they're not even going to surpass a 2-loss Power 5 team in the polls. I think we still face this ceiling. Where do you guys expect them to go with scheduling 2-for-1s, getting a better reputation for playing tougher teams? What kind of recruiter is Malzahn? Because our defense was an embarrassment in the second half last year. We're going to have to bring in better athletes, bigger athletes. Where do you guys see this program going as far as taking more chances and bringing in better players? Thanks a lot.
Well, I appreciate the call. Yeah, Gus Malzahn and Terry Mohajir quickly yesterday divorced themselves from the scheduling philosophy of former AD Danny White. They said UCF wants to reach the college football playoff semifinals, and to do that, they have to upgrade the schedule by playing top 10 opponents. And as Terry Mohajir said yesterday, sometimes you have to play those top 10 opponents on their terms, all right? Gus Malzahn said, I don't care where we play them, I'll play them in a parking lot. I'll let Terry decide whether it's home and home or 2-for-1s or whatever. But, yeah, UCF made it clear yesterday that they plan on upgrading their schedule, even if it means 2-for-1s. Now, we'll see what happens because UCF, I mean, we are in a pandemic here, and finances are, moving forward, finances are going to be an issue. So we'll see if UCF is able to give up that extra home game just to go on the road to play the Gators or whoever it may be. All right, let's pause for station identification.
WYGM Orlando, WJRR HD2 Cocoa Beach. Listen live on iHeartRadio. Now. No, seriously, do it now. You feel that?
I can feel it.
We're about to blast off.
Just hook it to my veins!
It's time for the blast.
That's right, it's the blast right here on Open Mic. When Adam Shadoff calls in, I will put him on the line and he will join us. In fact, Mike, he's calling in right now. Why don't you tell him about Frank Gay Services, the electricians, the plumbers, where can they reach him?
Let me tell you about the blast. It's always brought to you by Frank Gay Services. When you have a plumbing or electrical problem, you need help now, go to frankgayservices.com. A live operator is waiting for you, and a licensed plumber is ready to help today with a solution to your problem fast. That's the Frank Gay way, frankgayservices.com. Frank Gay cannot be stopped.
That's a fact. And Adam Shadoff, welcome to the show.
What's up?
Adam Shadoff, how are you? Obviously, you can watch Adam Shadoff. He was at the UCF Introductory News Conference for Gus Malzahn yesterday. You can watch him on the Fox 35 Sports Zone every weeknight about 11:30, where he and his colleague Evan Fitzgerald take deep dives into all the sports happenings in Central Florida. It was good to see you yesterday, Adam.
Yeah, and the day before at Daytona, Yankee.
Yeah, we saw each other 2 straight days. Adam was at Daytona covering the Daytona 500, which went on forever. And then we were lamenting yesterday. Couldn't UCF had called the press conference for Tuesday, so we could have got a little rest yesterday, Adam?
I mean, get home at 2:45, bed at 3:30.
News breaks 9 in the morning. Start working that. Yeah, good times.
All right, let's do a little shout-out, shall we?
Shout it out from the rooftop. Woo-hoo! It's time for the shout-off shout-out.
Here we go with the shout-off shout-out, and we start off with the open mic thought-provoking daily poll. In baseball vernacular, how do you judge UCF hiring of former Auburn coach Gus Malzahn? Is it a home run? Is it a double? Is it a single? Or is it a strikeout? Mike Bianchi, we'll start with you.
Well, I'll just recite what I wrote today. This wasn't just a home run by Terry Mohajir. This was a bases-loaded grand slam home run that soared out of the park. In fact, it's still traveling over the Orlando skyline. Eventually, it hasn't happened yet, but eventually it's going to splash down somewhere in the middle of Lake Apopka. Any UCF fan who's complaining about this hire, you guys are delusional. UCF is lucky to have a coach of Gus Malzahn's credentials. Again, I just think this is a grand slam home run.
Totally agree with Bianchi. It's a home run only because of circumstances. Only because of circumstances, like crazy circumstances, would they even be able to have a coach of this caliber there. The fact that he got fired because of a booster after one subpar season that was even still a bowl season and had the huge, a contract deal, the buyout money there. That's the only reason they could have a coach of this caliber, and the situation was perfect for them. They're getting a national championship quality coach right now. He's the only guy that's he's basically the only guy in the country that's beaten Nick Saban, really, which is pretty impressive. It's a great hire.
With 52% of the vote, it's a home run hire. And
what was second?
Second place was a double with 41%. 0.4% of the audience says it's a strikeout. Supplemental poll number 1. In the wake of UCF hiring Gus Malzahn, who is the most accomplished college football coach among the state's Big Four? Adam, is it Gus Malzahn, Dan Mullen, Manny Diaz, or Mike Norvell?
Yeah, well, I mean, this isn't fair. I mean, in his career, it's Gus Malzahn because he's been to a national championship game and he's won the SEC title. And so in his career, it's Gus. I mean, it's not really a fair comparison because Gus Malzahn's now the coach at UCF. So it's a different kind of a deal. I know what Terry Mohajir was doing yesterday, but I'm not so sure he was fully correct on that.
Oh, I think he was. And again, you can only judge to date. And right now, Gus Malzahn is a more accomplished head coach than Dan Mullen is. As you mentioned, he's one of the few head coaches in history who's been able to take on the Sabanator, Nick Saban, and win his fair share of those battles. He has won an SEC championship. Dan Mullen hasn't. He does have a better SEC winning percentage than Dan Mullen. He has played in the national championship game as a head coach. Dan Mullen hasn't. So Gus Malzahn is the most accomplished head coach to date, but I'm not saying that's going to continue, but it could.
With 63% of the vote, Gus Malzahn wins this one. I think you're interested in who's in last place. It's not Mike Norvell. Manny Diaz is in last place in this poll. Interesting there. Supplemental poll number 2. How long do you think Gus Malzahn will be the head coach at UCF? 1 to 2 years, 3 to 5 years, 6 to 10 years, or 11 to 20 years? Mike.
Again, he's 55 years old. He one of the first things he said yesterday is, I want to stay here and build this thing, because that's something they haven't had, obviously, since George O'Leary. I think it's going to be a George O'Leary type stay. I think Gus Malzahn, I think he wants to stay at UCF. I think he's going to, I'm going to go, he's 55. I'll say he'll be here 6 to 10 years at UCF.
I know he said that, and I know UCF fans were thrilled to hear that, because who wouldn't? They've had 2 guys in a row who used it as a stepping stone to stay here 3 years, and they're out. But here's a situation that I could easily envision. UCF plays really well. They win 11 games one year, 12 games. They go undefeated, baby. And they make, a New Year's Six Bowl again. And there's a really good opening in the SEC. Do you really think that he wouldn't leave for an SEC job after a season like that, get back to the top and stick his finger up at Auburn? I just kind of feel like he said the right thing yesterday, but in that kind of situation, he would probably leave. I'd give him 3 or 4 years.
With 64% of the vote, 3 to 5 years wins this one.
Okay.
Supplemental poll number 3. Should Tom Brady apologize to the maker of the Lombardi Trophy for throwing it across the water into another vessel during Tampa Bay Bucks boat parade? We'll start with Adam.
What are the options here?
Yes or no? Should he apologize?
Is there an absolutely no way in hell this is a preposterous situation? Because if there was, I would click on that button there, because this is totally ridiculous. The woman's father was involved in making the Lombardi Trophy, like designing it. It's not. Come on. What are we even talking about here? He was having fun. He was screwing around. Nothing happened. This has nothing to do with that woman. She was looking for her 15 minutes of fame, and she got it.
First of all, it's not just some woman, okay? Her name is Lorraine, all right? Lorraine Groves. Okay. And her father, Greg, he didn't just make the trophy, Adam. He was the master silversmith at Tiffany and Company for 30 years. He crafted this trophy, all right? He worked hard on it day and night. Day and night, this guy worked on this trophy. He forged the seams by hand, all right? The newspaper article shows him working on this trophy. The ball's hand-formed. The base is hand-formed. And Tom Brady drinking tequila, drunk, mind you.
Allegedly.
He's gonna risk this fine work of art by throwing it over water. What if that had plopped into the Hillsborough River and sunk into the deep depths of that river, and the undercurrent sweeps that trophy out to sea, only to never see it again? Absolutely, Brady should apologize.
No, my gosh, Bianca, I've never been more disappointed in you. And I'll answer your question real quick before we get the answer to the poll. They would have made another one. That's the answer.
Oh, but not with the seams forged by hand by a master silversmith named Greg Groves.
Sure they wouldn't. 93% of the vote says, hell no, he doesn't have to apologize.
Typical.
He wanted himself. He can do with it what he wants, Mike. Supplemental poll number 4.
Drunken football players risking works of art. Goodness. Would you have felt the same had it been the Mona Lisa he was tossing over the Hillsborough River?
There's only one of those, so that's a little different.
Hey, let's throw this Mona Lisa like a frisbee over the Hillsborough River.
Did he win it? Does he own it? He can do it. Supplemental poll number 4. Do you agree with Mike Bianchi that sitting inside your car while going through a car wash is still one of your favorite things to do? Yes or no? Mike, explain yourself.
Well, I was at the car wash the other day, and I was there alone, and all, you're going through the car wash, and it reminded me, I've loved going through car washes since I was a kid, and I still love it. It's one of life's simple pleasures that never gets old. You're in there usually by yourself, a time to reflect. You hear your car is getting clean. Then afterwards, they have the free vacuums now at all these car washes, so you don't have to pay to vacuum your car as well. It's just an unbelievable experience.
Things I've learned about Mike Bianchi in the past couple of weeks. One, he enjoys just walking down the beer aisle at Publix and just looking. And two, he enjoys just sitting in silence in the car wash. If you want some quiet time, Bianchi, you could go home and read a book and sit in the corner and chill on the couch. I'm on my phone just looking at Twitter and waiting for the car wash to be over when I'm in the car wash. So the answer is no.
Sometimes you don't want to know what else I'm doing in the car.
Oh, golly, Mike.
Wow.
Gross. My golly. 55% of the vote says yes, they agree with Mike, but I think they need to change their vote now after all that.
He just made it weird.
Made it real weird.
That's what I do. That's why they call me LCD, lowest common denominator.
All right, the open mic would you rather poll. Would you rather go camping with all of the gear you could ever want or stay at a nice but not luxurious hotel? Mike.
Well, first of all, is the camping gear, the tent, and all of that, is it set up for you? Like you can go to campgrounds now and they call it lamping, where they have
glamping.
Glamping, yeah. They have the tents and everything set up for you. Is it like that?
Yeah,
Really?
I'll say yeah. Yeah, I'll say yes. It's like that.
Oh, then I'm definitely taking the glamping. Yeah, I like to be outdoors. I like to sit by the fire. Yeah, I'm going glamping.
Yeah, I'm gonna go glamping also. You'd be in a nice location in the wilderness, drinking some beers outdoors with the fire there. Beyond maybe doing a little fishing, which I never do, but it's fun when you're out with friends and stuff. I'm going glamping. Yeah.
There you go. With 65% of the vote, a good hotel wins this one.
Okay. Adam Reardon, we got to quit meeting like this. This is the third day in a row we've actually had conversations together. So, again, I appreciate all the conversations with you, but I'm getting a little sick of you right now.
Well, you just called me Adam Reardon, but I'm Adam Shadoff.
Oh,
Adam Shadoff.
You are sick of me.
Yes.
He gets his soccer players mixed up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Shadoff, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks.
All right, see ya.
Straight ahead, John Hammond, GM of the Orlando Magic, will join us. But first, we have your chance at $1,000.
strategically. We're going to do everything in our power, all right, as a program to give our guys a chance to do that. And I truly believe we will be in the Final Four in a short period of time.
New UCF head coach Gus Malzahn talking about national championships, getting to the Final Four, upgrading the schedule, playing. He didn't say the Gators, but he said, I don't care if we play them 2-for-1s. I don't care if we play them 1-for-1s. I'll play them in the parking lot if we have to. So that was Gus Malzahn yesterday. From our text line, what are the chances Gus Malzahn retains any current coaching staff member? My kids are friends with one of the coaches and will be devastated if he's not retained. I don't know what current assistants he's going to keep. I don't think he's going to keep Randy Shannon as the defensive coordinator. In fact, I'm hearing rumblings, and Adam mentioned it earlier. Who's the linebackers coach down at Miami? I think that's going to be his defensive coordinator.
Oh, Travis, is it Williams? Is that? I mean, I was on his staff there, which it's actually kind of interesting because he coaches linebackers down at Miami, or is slated to. Travis Williams, the guy. It would be interesting if he ends up here as the defensive coordinator. That would create a linebackers coaching job. If only there was a coach. Only there was a coach. People, maybe speculating on that, but who knows?
Well, speculating on what? Like Randy Shannon, them being the linebackers coach?
Well, yeah. I mean, if he's available, I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think he's owed $1 million. I mean, he's got $1 million left on his contract for one more year.
He did sue Miami. I believe he sued Miami or held Miami over the coals for his previous contract. So I don't know if that would burn the bridge, previously. But again, a guy that's got some recruiting ties to the state. Hey, listen, Randy has value. Obviously, if you look at the numbers of the defense this past season at UCF, you could look at it and go, he's a bad defensive coordinator. It's tough to being a defensive coordinator this day and age with offenses the way they are. Not just the ones that you have to compete against, but the ones that are on your own team that are trying to get on and off the field in 3 minutes, okay? So, but I will say that, Randy will find a home if he chooses to. It would just be interesting if there was a coaching vacancy at Miami, and it would be a position that he certainly knows how to coach. That's for sure. But
somebody texts in, Bulldog, how do you rank the state of Florida coaches? Mullen, Diaz, Butch Davis, Malzahn, Norvell, Taggart. How do I rank I'll just do the big four. Here's how I would rank the big four as of right now, as his coaches who I would want leading. But and I'll just say, let me just say this, all right? Let's just say, all right, the Gators are the best team in the state right now. Which coach would I want coaching the Gators right now? Dan Mullen, Diaz, Gus Malzahn, or Mike Norvell? I'm gonna go Mullen. I still put Mullen number one right now. Right now, I'm putting Mullen number one, Malzahn number two. I'll go Norvell and then Diaz. Manny Diaz hasn't proven enough to me as a head coach yet. Mike Norvell had some pretty good success at Memphis.
Didn't he go 10-2 this year with his only losses to Clemson?
Again, that's 1 year.
Okay.
1 year.
All right.
So I want to see a little bit more out of Mike Norvell. All right, get your dinger ready. Spontaneous text question. What's your favorite breakfast food in honor of National Pancake Day? Biscuits and gravy with home fries and sunny side up eggs all mixed together. I'll give that a big ding right there.
Yeah, and you got to put that. You got to put that either on your toast or between two pieces of toast, and just make a full-on sandwich.
Yeah, that's right, big sloppy breakfast sandwich.
Now I don't know if you guys are grit. I love grits. All right,
grits are good.
I'm a Southern boy.
I've never been a grits guy.
Well, you're from Nebraska.
From Nebraska.
Yeah. The look on Mark Daniels' face
You know what northern people do with grits too? They'll put sugar on them. Yeah.
I know some people from the South that do that.
Yeah.
I'm a big cheese, salt, and pepper guy.
Do you like? Oh, me too. Do you like grits? I mix my grits in with my eggs, like my over easy eggs. I'll mix them all together. You ever do that?
I can do that too. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, something from the text: jelly-filled donuts. Buzz that.
As a favorite breakfast?
Yeah, come on. Jelly-filled donut.
My kid's clearly up this morning with the ability to text message us.
Somebody just texted in omelet. Well, not just a regular old egg omelet. You got to have some ingredients in it. Give me some ingredients.
No, I'm even buzzing omelets in general. I don't like. I'm not an omelet.
You don't like
guy.
omelets?
No,
I like omelets.
There's so many better variations of egg.
I'm not saying. I mean, you put some good ingredients in omelets. I'm not. Yeah.
I like the way omelets nice and packaged like that. You know, especially if you go to like a nice resort and they have the omelet station, the person working it, they always give you a beautiful omelet every time. It's gorgeous. You got a little shrimp in there, maybe some chicken. People like vegetables in theirs, but
shrimp.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. When I go to the Bahamas, I look forward to every morning. I have myself my egg white, shrimp, and chicken omelet.
Chicken in your omelet?
Yeah.
No, you gotta have sausage, or you gotta have breakfast meat in there.
Listen, Mike, I'm down in the Bahamas. It's bathing suit season. I'm not trying to do the sausage and the bacon in there. I'm trying to stay trim.
Somebody just texted in. UCF's Twitter mob is a bunch of 20-year-old woke idiots. They need to shut up and let UCF hire a great coach. Same goes for the players. Spoiled UCF brats.
What is OK Boomer?
Wow.
OK.
That wasn't even texted to us. That was actually sent via mail. Mike had to open like Karnak.
No. As an outsider, non-UCF fan, these people talking about the UCF Twitter mafia are crazy. This is a great hire. You got a nationally known, recognized coach to come to UCF and is just more than namesake. All right, this helps UCF's brand. These fans are imbeciles.
You could say that this hire has gravitas.
Yeah. It does have gravitas. There's no question about it.
Oh, that's for the long-time listeners. That's for those who listen to the whole show.
Somebody texted in, goofball to the person who asked Gus Malzahn, is he ready for this pressure cooker he's about to step into? That was classic. The guy just got fired at Auburn, which is like probably the biggest pressure cooker job in college football. Auburn fires good coaches, right? That's what Auburn does.
Auburn's willing to fly its private jets to go bring in new guys while the old guy's still there coaching. Believe me, you want to talk about pressure is when you look out your office window and you go, "Is that a private jet of one of our boosters?" Hold on.
All right, straight ahead, Mark Daniels is going to join us. Of course, we're going to get his opinion on Gus Malzahn's introductory news conference, which, by the way, Mark Daniels emceed yesterday. That's next on The Bridge.
Mark Daniels joins Mike Bianchi on The Bridge. Next.